Hi everyone, welcome back into Primetime TV Show and a very happy new year to everyone. This is our first time back after 2 weeks.
It's been last year.
Last year, exactly. So I do want to say welcome. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Marville Kelly. With me is my partner and husband and best friend, Dennis Kelly. We're back in the seat again, the hot seat.
That's a good way of calling it.
We just actually celebrated Christmas this past weekend, didn't we?
Yep.
We celebrated Christmas, we celebrated New Year's, all in one fell swoop, and we managed to have a tapas night where our crazy family all got together and made a big old mess, nothing but organized chaos in the kitchen and making a bunch of different meals and things like that. So it was really a great weekend. Hope you had a very healthy holiday and are looking forward to a new year and possibly a new you. In many ways. That can come in many ways, shapes, and forms, and we're here for this upcoming year 2016 to share those things with you. Things that have helped us, new things that we are finding out there in the marketplace for ageless living and to live the best quality of life as you possibly can. So stick with us. I'm actually going to put my husband on the spot today because I find that we are becoming more and more unscripted, and sometimes when we do, it's kind of fun because you never know what the person's going to say next. I didn't tell him that I was going to do that, so I don't know if he's nervous or not. Probably not. It takes a lot to make him nervous, right? So we just kind of talked a little bit about what we were going to share today because it is the new year, and we want to share some of the tips that has helped to make us successful in our lives. And success can really have a different perception with a lot of people. Maybe for some of you it means like a lot of money, maybe a fancy sport car, race car, big huge screen TV or whatever it is. But for us, we have it's a nice balance, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's an important word, balance.
Yeah.
It's like the mind, the body, and emotions, doing things that helps balance all three.
Exactly.
And then have fun at the offset of it too.
The whole balance thing, using that whole mind, body, spirit, which I've been doing for a long time, didn't realize I was doing it until my husband put a system together called Tri-Neurogenics, using the mind as the map, the body as the vehicle, and the spirit as the fuel. And when you stop and think about that, one drives the other. And you keep doing that, it becomes a habit. It truly becomes a habit. And when we develop habits, I'm thinking that it really helps us become a little bit more well-rounded. Do you?
Yeah, and habits, basically you can have good habits or bad habits. And it's looking at the habit you have, is this habit improving my well-being? Is it a healthy habit? You know, you could have a habit of smoking cocaine or shooting cocaine or whatever you do with it. That's a nasty habit. Or you could have a habit of starting to read educational books, going and watching educational videos. That's a good habit. Or going to the gym, working out, doing something that makes you feel good physically, and doing things like exercises that you enjoy. Help keep us in balance. Because if you're really enjoying an exercise, you're helping the mind and the emotions and the body. If you don't enjoy it and you're just doing it to do an exercise to lose weight or get stronger or be healthier, but you don't enjoy it, then you're not helping integrate the mind, the body, and the emotions. You're helping the physical part, but it's not helping the mind so much and the emotions.
Well, don't you find that when we're at the gym, that we should be concentrating on exercising on the bike or the treadmill or working the weights and everything? Don't you feel that you get a better result by actually focusing?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing that keeps me going to the gym the amount of times I need to go, which is 6 to 7 days a week. And
he does.
Is I may not feel like doing it. That's the time to really do it because I always feel so much better after I do it.
I know.
The feeling that you get, feeling the blood rushing through your body and the stimulation you get. Of course, when you first start exercising on a program, sometimes it takes a little while to get to that stage. It takes 21 days to form a habit.
Sure.
According to Maxwell Maltz with his book Psycho-Cybernetics, which is, research has proven that's true. So the key thing is picking exercises that you enjoy. And balancing them, like having Qigong and Tai Chi that we speak of so much. lifting weights or doing strength and exercises, it's not just doing one form of exercise. It's using the balance of the soft and the hard, the yin and the yang. That's why at my age I can still compete on a world-class level in the martial arts, is because I have that balance.
That's right, and you've had that balance for quite some time. In fact, he is going to be competing this year at the U.S. Open the weekend of July 8th and 9th, I believe.
That's great. It'll be on the 9th. The 9th is a Saturday, and I'm going to compete in it to prove that age is no factor. I'll be 78 then, and I'll be the oldest man ever to fight at that tournament or any NASCAR. I said NASCAR. I've been thinking of cars. NASCA, which is North American Sport Karate Association. I'll be the oldest man by far. I am the oldest man now, a couple of years ago, but I want to. My goal was to do it by the age of 75. Well, I took a little sabbatical there because of certain reasons, and now I'm back on the track again, and at 78, I'll be the oldest man to do that. And the only reason I'll be able to do that, it's the mindset, taking the right food at least 75, 80% of the time, having a good wife, of course, to be behind you and be in front of you, pushing you and pulling you, so to speak, and encouraging me to continue doing what I'm doing, even though I do it, even if you didn't, but I do it, and it's much more fun when you know have your wife's blessing or your partner's blessing.
You know, that's so very, very true, and I remember when we met, and I followed you around the circuit for the full year. I had a lot of vacation time, and I couldn't believe what I was watching, and I'm thinking, did I marry somebody from outer space? The average man, especially at his age, is not working out at the gym, is not out there competing, pulling off one world title after another, which he did, and he holds 5 world titles. And I know that sometimes sounds a little bit redundant to many of you that have heard us talking about his program and everything, but the reason why we share that is really to let you know that anyone can achieve whatever they set their mind and whatever they believe, and really set that focus on what your dreams are, and you can step into them even at a later age, because really, as far as we're concerned, age is only a number, and I've been proving that myself, especially getting on that crazy dance floor, thinking I was still like 21, my goodness gracious. But you know what? It really is all about the zest that we come up with in our life, in our experience in life, and how we look at it. I mean, when you think about age being only a number, and then sometimes you get a little reminder that, well, yeah, it is only a number, but if we take care of ourselves, we can really follow that concept. I know you've certainly proved it. I've proved it in a few ways, but I've still got a ways to go. And I am back at the gym again, aren't I? And I'm doing pretty darn good. I'm getting on the bike.
Yeah,
and
I'm proud of you.
I know you are. And I'll meet him at the gym because he knows I'm taking off to do my own thing right afterwards. He'll go in and he'll get a bike saved for me when you know I'm coming in. And I'll do 3 to 4 miles, sometimes 5 miles in a day. I don't want to do it. The gym, it's not that it scares me. I'd rather be on the dance floor. I'd rather be out gardening. I'd rather be getting exercise that way. And that's okay, but it's not what we need. Why is that? Why do we need that resistance training?
Well, your body tends to take the course of the least resistance. So what you have to do is increase that least resistance higher. Increasing it at least 5 to 10%. Like when I was running long distance running marathons and 10Ks and 5Ks, we would never exceed our normal pattern, our normal time by more than 10%. In other words, our normal distance also. In other words, when we want to increase our distance, we would only increase it 5 to 10%, never going to 20 or 30%. That gets your body accustomed to it, and it doesn't put a strain on the heart. And it gives you the right chance to adjust your body to the circumstances. Whether it be running, lifting weights, it doesn't matter. It's all the same.
I see. I understand that. Well, you know, it really does take motivation to get into the gym or do any kind of exercise. I'm sure you'll agree. But there's a lot of different things that are really keeping things simple and getting back to basics that never changes. My husband wrote this book called The 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth after he came out of retirement. My goodness, when was that?
That was the 4th time I came out of retirement.
The 4th time he came out of retirement, back in 1996, which was right around the time when we met.
Right.
And became an item, and I was used as kind of like a an example, a guinea pig, if you will. And the 6 steps that he wrote then are still applicable today. And that's why I love this book, because the 6 steps in here, and we'll go over them, not in a real detail, but you'll find that you'll see a lot of these in other people's programs too. But these have been around for a long time, and if you can just adhere to them, this book is like a manual, because you start one week, then you add the next week, and you keep adding to it. And it's really a good way to keep yourself on track and even keep a journal for yourself. And that's what I want to talk about. I know we have a break coming up, but we're going to talk about these 6 steps like we always do every beginning of the year whenever we start our workshops or our seminars and everything. You can get the book at www.dennis-kelly.com, and you can also see some of the other things that we're doing. We have a workshop coming up next month, and then we're also going to be doing a Tai Chi full-out professional certification in March, and so you can get all the details there at dennis-kelly.com. But one of the things that I love about this book, which I did endorse because I follow this program, sometimes not to the T, sometimes I do get off of a little bit, and when my cholesterol starts shooting up a little bit, then I get back on track again, because we have no choice. We really have no choice. If we want to be able to get down on the floor with our grandchildren, to be able to go out swing dancing in the evening, and to really keep up with ourselves and the younger generation, and sometimes it's not all that easy. So some of the steps, if you were to say, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about, I have a really powerful question I want to ask my husband, because the question that I'm going to ask him can change your life today. So I'm going to hold that off till after the break. But just a couple of the steps in the 6 steps to the Fountain of Youth, what do you find in order of importance?
Well, the first 3 steps are physical. Mm-hmm. The last 3 steps are spiritual and mental. So it's starting, let's get physical, like Olivia Newton-John, mm-hmm. Get physical.
Right.
Olivia Newton.
Yeah.
John, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. That goes way back.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So anyway, taking and getting physical first, whether it be washing the car or doing the weights or whatever. And anytime you feel a little bit down, you get physical. And that will help tremendously in most cases. Mm-hmm. So we start with exercise as the number 1 thing. Then the next thing is nutrition. Because if you don't have the right nutrition, exercise can be counterproductive, because you have to replace the protein and the different vitamins and minerals in the body. So it's like tuning up a fine engine. So that's a physical thing too, taking mm-hmm. and eating the right food. And I tell everybody, if you eat right 75% of the time, 80% of the time, and the other 20 or 25% of the time, goof off. Like I have my carrot cake on the mm-hmm. weekends mm-hmm. and things that are too much sugar and things of that nature. So it's important to really get the right nutrition, but if you didn't have the exercise, then the nutrition's not going to work as good, because it doesn't get into the cells, and the cells become clogged up with blood protein blockage, that the experts call it, and they don't start cleansing themselves. So the nutrients in the food can't adjust to the cells. It goes out as waste. And the older you get, the more predominant that factor is.
Isn't that where tummy problems come in too?
Yeah, because you're a thing called peristalsis, where the muscles move in a certain fashion, pushes the food through your system. Well, by eating the wrong food, that clogs it up to begin with. Then the fact that the older we get, the more actually in danger of really getting constipated, not eliminating properly, and that's a big factor in being healthy.
Absolutely, because that has a tendency to build up toxins.
Most diseases start in the colon.
Yes.
And in the intestines. So by being able to get the right nutrition, you have to have the exercise to help push it through.
I see.
Because you have to have movement.
Absolutely.
The Tibetan monks that have the 5 power principles, the first power principle of the Tibetan monks is movement. So that's why I chose to put the physical things first. Then the next thing.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a break.
I'm holding it.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will share more in the 6 steps to the Fountain of Youth. It's your gateway to a better life, better quality, and ageless living. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B. Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Everyone's story is different, so why be limited to just one or two options? With Norcom's Norflex Home Loan, you're given the flexibility to tell your story. Pick your terms from 8 to 30 years, all while maintaining a low, fixed mortgage rate. You can pay off your loan more quickly or choose a term based on your budget and timeline. Whatever you do with the Norflex Home Loan, make it part of your financial plan. Norflex, short-term, long-term, your terms. Apply online at norcommortgage.com.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B. Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Welcome back into Primetime TV Show. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Marvell Kelly. With me is my husband, Dennis Kelly. You know, one of the reasons why we decided to call our show Primetime TV Show is, number one, to amuse ourselves because we give it our prime time. And that's one tip that we can recommend, that no matter what you're doing, whether it's in personal relationships, business relationships, any of your own personal goals and tasks that you want to accomplish in the new year of 2016, is become passionate and give it that prime time. You know, that is one thing that my husband and I can truly say, that when we give it our passion, you're going to get more results back, right?
Absolutely.
And that's like when you were writing your book. Now, we were talking about the 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth, if you're just joining us. It's a book that my husband wrote back in 1996. This still applies today, getting back to basics. There's no gadgets and widgets and things of that out there that's going to do it for you. If you're going to commit, you're going to see the results. Trust me, I know, I'm a walking example of that. But just before the break, we were talking about the first 3 things that you decided to do in this book was to get physical with exercise, and then the supplements, and then the nutrition. And that's all physical, right, because you're ingesting nutrition, you're ingesting supplements, and that can play a major role because our food, due to the soil depletion of nutrients and minerals and everything, we don't get what we need, at least what we've discovered, from the foods, no matter how well we try to eat.
That's so true. We're only putting a small percentage of the minerals back into the soil. The farmers only required 3 minerals, and yet the body needs 60 trace minerals to be healthy.
Yes.
So, you know, we're doing without a lot of minerals. That's why people think they don't need to supplement their food are way off, I'm telling you, because they don't realize our food does not give us the nutrition that we need. Years ago, before the soil was depleted of all its minerals, people were healthy eating vegetables.
That's very true.
Now you can't live off of just eating vegetables. You have to supplement it with certain minerals and vitamins. And so that's why I put that in my book as one of the first 3 steps, because that's so important. Because your food doesn't give you the certain things that you need. Now, there are certain things in the food that we haven't figured out yet how to get in the supplements. Like take an apple, for instance. There's over 10,000 phytonutrients in an apple. Some of these phytonutrients, we haven't duplicated it. We don't know how. The same thing with the tomato. However, the key thing is they have to be growing in the right soil. And if they're not, then you supplement the minerals. And usually an apple and a tomato are good examples of foods that actually do build up the different nutrients that some of the other vegetables don't have. That's why the apple and tomato have these 10,000 phytonutrients that are very, very important to good health. There's an island called Sardinia where the men live to be 100 more so than the women. In other words, more centurions men than women. And their whole thing is to eat 3 apples a day.
And you're up to 2 apples a day, at least,
yeah,
aren't you? I can't keep up with them.
2 apples a day, yeah. I haven't got to the 3rd one yet.
Our favorite is Macintosh, and it's very seasonal down here in Florida. And as far as organic foods, we try to eat as much organic as we possibly can because of the pesticides. I know I'm preaching to the choir to many of you out there, but honestly, you can notice a difference. And I remember, gosh, 30 years ago when I was thinking about doing organic, it was almost cost prohibitive, especially when I was a single mom. But today, you know, it's only pennies more. In some cases, like a pineapple, sometimes it's going to cost you almost double. But it just, you know what, I just try to get what I can get and just know that we're going to have goodness from it and then supplement with whatever we're going to be supplementing from. But just before we took the break, I wanted to ask my husband a question, and I kind of prepared him a little bit for it, but he didn't really have much time to think as far as answering. So you're going to get this just as I am. When it comes to both of us being life coaches and everything, and if you had 1 person, 5 people, 10, 20, a crowd of people that were in front of you as an audience, and you had to pull from one of the most impactful bits of memory going way back when, what would you say was the most critical time that made a big difference in making a choice to change your life for the better forever?
Well, first of all, I had to want that to happen.
Okay, wanting
I had
it.
to have, because I came from a very poor childhood. I didn't have a lot of the things I really wanted and needed in my life at that time. And so I knew that I'd have to make some changes, because most people want changes without really, they want their life to change, but they don't want to make the changes to make their life change properly. So it was getting with the right mentors that would box me in for success. I call it boxing you in for success. In other words, not leaving any escape valves, escape doors. So what one of my great mentors did was get permission from me to box me in to success. In other words, not allowing me to escape. In other words, I gave that person relentless permission to support me and do whatever they need to do to keep me on the right track. That's what I do when I do a coaching session with someone. First thing I do is give permission to relentlessly support them in their endeavor to become more successful, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But they have to give me diehard permission, right? Dig deep in their heart. Do you really say that? Are you really giving me permission, or are you just blowing hot air? So what I want from you, what I say to them or ask them, what I want from you is relentless. I want permission. And if I had to come and beat on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning to get you to do what you needed to do, you give me permission to do it. Not that I'm going to do that, but that's just the intensity that I want in that permission, to be able to say anything and do anything without your feelings being hurt. Do I get that permission? First of all, you have to get that permission. Otherwise, you don't have a chance to really, in other words, you don't even have the right, that's the word I want, you don't have the right to try to improve that individual, because most people are going to balk. They're not going to give you permission subconsciously. They want to either be in control, or they don't really believe that they can be that successful. So to change somebody's belief system requires them to give me permission to change their belief system.
Absolutely, but it starts with the want.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what if you have somebody that they've tried this, they've tried that, they're not happy with this, and they're going down this road of destruction emotionally, financially, and even physically in many times. They don't know what they want. How do you find it? What do you want?
Well, you have to check in your core values. What really makes you feel happy is being happy, being cared about by someone or some group of people, is being happy, achieving things. So you have to dig deep and find out what really makes you feel happy. And there's always something that's really going to give you the push and drive to want to be successful, if that thing can increase that thing that makes you happy.
Would you say it's passion?
Yeah, well, if you don't have passion in your goal, you're never going to make a goal. There's a difference to be committed to a goal and interested in making a goal. For example, if I'm doing a long distance training as a runner, and I look out the window and it's raining, and I would say, well, I'll run tomorrow because it's raining. You see, that's interest, but you're not dedicated. If you're committed, you look out the window and say, oh, it's raining, I'll get my raincoat, and then go out and run.
Right, right.
Or run through the rain.
So it's going above and beyond the extra mile and commitment.
Yeah.
It takes a commitment. And being committed is really the way to do it. Because once you're committed, if you know what your passion is, and a lot of times today, people don't know what their passion is. They are in an endless job. They're not really happy with what they're doing. But once they discover their passion, then you build that roadmap towards it. We have our passion. We started building our roadmap almost 20 years ago. And look where we're at. We've got our TV show, which we had planned 20 years ago, so that we can get out to the masses information to be sort of a mentor and leave what we know to generations to come.
That's right. Well, when you have that mindset, you draw other people into your world, whether they be a direct personal relationship or just friends. And you will tend to attract friends that are doing those same things and thinking that same way. I always tell people, be very careful about the people you hang around. Be very careful about the people you choose to let come in your home, into your life, because those people can help you or they can hurt you. And do they have the same mindset, or do they have some seditious reason to be in with your company, so to speak?
Yes, yes.
So that's a very important thing. I don't allow anybody to get into my life unless I feel comfortable with them.
That's right, 100%. And it's, sometimes you can be fooled. And I think we've all probably had those moments where we have been fooled. But I think when you follow your heart, and your heart just gives you the right messages, excuse me, it's easier to find your passion.
Absolutely. The heart is the important, as we spoke of so many times.
Oh, yes.
The heart's stronger than the brain. 60 times more bioelectricity in the heart than in the brain. 5,000 higher frequency level than in the brain. So the heart has a lot to do with it, but we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, we are actually going to be talking about that next month because it's Heart Month. And I love getting up on my soapbox talking about living a heart-empowered life, because it's the only way to do it and really be successful and get consistent answers every single time you consult your heart. And I mean, when I've deviated from that, and I'm more or less thinking and making my decisions from the head, boy, do I ever end up mad at myself from that.
Oh yeah.
No more.
Sometimes that's good to get mad at yourself. Sometimes get yourself a little boot in the, get out of the butts.
Get off your butts.
Get off your butt. Right?
Yeah.
Get off your butt.
Exactly. Well, we've been doing that. I mean, you are very consistent, working out 6 and 7 days, and I kid you not, consistently. Not so much. I'm just not a gym rat, never have been, but I know how I feel when, like you said, you get on the exercise machines, you get on the treadmill or the bike or whatever, the elliptical, whatever makes you happy, which we were also talking about, because you've got to be motivated and you've got to feel good about what you're doing and not just going through the motions, not emotions, reading a magazine and just doing a ho-hum workout. You're not putting your heart and soul into it.
Well, you got to really see the outcome.
Yes.
And instead of looking in the mirror and seeing yourself, say you're way overweight and thinking, looking in the mirror, I'm disgusted with myself. If you take that kind of mindset and dwell on that, you're never going to follow through in the exercise.
Exactly. Hold that thought. We're taking a break. We'll be right back. More from Primetime TV.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B. Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Everyone's story is different, so why be limited to just one or two options? With Norcom's Norflex Home Loan, you're given the flexibility to tell your story. Pick your terms from 8 to 30 years, all while maintaining a low, fixed mortgage rate. You can pay off your loan more quickly or choose a term based on your budget and timeline. Whatever you do with the Norflex Home Loan, make it part of your financial plan. Norflex, short-term, long-term, your terms. Apply online at norcommortgage.com.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B. Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Hey there, welcome back into our show, which is Primetime TV show. We're giving you our prime time, and you're giving us your prime time, because every moment that we're on this earth is prime time on this side of the dirt, right?
Absolutely.
We're honored and really blessed to be here to share some things with you. We were just talking about my husband's book that is kind of like an old publication, but everything in it is still applicable. It's called The 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth. And my husband's been talking about the 3 elements, the 3 steps, which are physical. And then we also, excuse me, have the 3, which is more spiritual when it comes to happiness and attitude. We touched on that. But seeing that this is going to be our last segment in the show, I just want to read something that I just rediscovered, I should say, in the book. It's called Try Neurogenics, which is my husband's program that he put together. The Sword of Success. I love that. It addresses the triad of the body, mind, and spirit, physical, mental, and emotional. Then he drops down here and says, 1, 2, 3, are you ready? Ask yourself, how do you feel right now? In fact, if you were to gauge your life on a scale from 1 to 10 right now, what would it be? 7, 8, 10, 2. You can change your life as of today just by using that little scaling method. But something else that my husband came up with was goaling it and getting there. Goaling it. I love that. I forgot that you had this in your book. But you talk about really setting the goals and really making them happen. And I just reminded you about that too, didn't I?
Yep, you
that
sure
was
did.
Brilliant. I know that was divine intervention.
Of course, most of the book was.
I remember when you were writing this book, you were sitting out by the pool. I was there with you. Mom was with us, and it was really great. And he would just get this stuff divinely guided to him, and that's how we ended up with such a great book. So goaling for it. I love it. Instead of going for it, but goaling for it. It's so important to set goals, right?
Absolutely, and the key thing when you set a goal, imagine already being accomplished. That's why I started to say, if you're looking in the mirror and you're overweight and you're thinking the disgusting look that you're getting from the mirror, so to speak, the key thing is see yourself as you want to see, as you want to be. In other words, see the end result and focus on the end result, whether it be a goal, running goal, a goal is acquiring wealth, or popularity, doesn't matter. Whatever goal, seeing yourself as already accomplishing that goal and feeling what it would feel like, and focus on that, because when you do that, then you're drawn that goal starts vibrating in the same energy level as your thoughts. And then the thoughts, and especially when you impregnate them with love, is invincible.
Well, I believe that, and we certainly exhibit that. We do set our goals, and we set high goals, which is also something of importance to both of us.
Well, the imagination is a direct link to all possibilities. In other words, thought, if you look at it, is a thing.
Yes, it
People
is.
don't think a thought is a thing, but when you manifest a certain thought long enough, it becomes a thing.
It does become a thing.
That's why you have to be so careful what you think about, you bring about. Just
You do.
like I also like to relate, we are what we concentrate on. What we concentrate on grows. What we concentrate on gets real. And we always find what we're concentrating on. And most people don't realize it. Most people, 77% of the population, they focus on the negative things, the things they don't want. And of course, then those things happen. They don't get what they're thinking, or they get what they're thinking, which is a negative.
Absolutely. And I look back over my life where, I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty positive person most of the time, very high percentage of the time. But every now and again, I'm no different than the plumber with leaky pipes. You know, stuff happens or whatever. When I posted on Facebook today, I said, "Are you starting the new year off on the right foot?" Well, I looked at our first few days, and it was kind of crazy. Slammed my hand in the door. I was at the doctor getting that x-rayed and everything. But you know what? That's life. That's life, and it's how you perceive it, which is also another very, very, very big concept, that you can choose any way you perceive whatever it is that's happening in your life and learn from it, right?
Absolutely.
Perception
we learn
is
more
everything.
from our mistakes than we do from the good things we do. But most people won't admit their mistakes. And that's the challenge. You have to own up to it. You have to take the responsibility. A lot of people are afraid of the word responsibility. It's like a nasty word. But if you really define what the word means, being able to respond to.
Yes.
So if you don't take the responsibility, you're not being able to respond to. That's why any bad thing in my life I've ever thought about as being bad, I didn't dwell on it being bad because I found something good out of it, something I learned from it. So if you learn from your bad things, then they're not bad any longer.
And that goes back to perception.
Yeah, if you don't learn from it, you're going to make the same mistakes over and over again.
You know,
that's
it
what
is-
insanity is,
Yes.
thinking the same thoughts, expecting change, not changing, and expecting the world to change.
Absolutely. In fact, I was thinking about that the other day when I slammed my hand in the door and what I was doing and what I was thinking at that time. And sure enough, I was having negative vibrations. Our little Yorkie ate the bling diamonds out of her bow, and I was a nervous wreck about all that, and it ended up coming out just fine. But I was in that mindset, and it seemed like I attracted myself not to focus walking through the open door and slamming it on my hand. And it was just those little things. But you know what? Those little things can be big things, right?
Especially when you're driving. And
Oh,
that's why you have to be so careful
yes.
about what you think about when you're driving.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you know, you'll hear us say so many times what you think about, you bring about, but it is true. And I've noticed that as I've looked over the years, the many years, that some of the things that I will be thinking about, and then all of a sudden it will appear or it will happen. And it's usually the good things. It's usually the good things.
Yeah, I one of my favorite cliches is vision without thought. In other words, vision without action is just a dream. Action without vision is a waste of time. Vision with action, when you have vision with action, you can change the world.
Absolutely. Action is a very powerful word.
Yeah, but you have to have vision with the action. If you have vision without action, like I said, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
If you have action without vision, it doesn't go anywhere. It's a waste of time. But if you have vision with action, that's when you can change the world.
And when you start with the heart. Because when you start thinking and feeling from the heart, because from what my husband has learned after going into the mountains at HeartMath Institute and becoming certified as a peak performance coach, the information that was brought back on how this heart works and how this heart knows before your brain knows the answer to every question that you ever want to ask yourself. It takes a little time, little practice to learn from what's the difference living from the head and living from the heart. But I found out very quickly, when I made those decisions from my head, it would come back and bite me.
Well, you're true. It's really true when you talk that way, because then you think that way. And getting a little bit into quantum physics, and if people realize this, I learned this basically more in the martial arts than I did in quantum physics, but they tie in together, that inside of every cell is a complete knowledge that ever was and ever will be. That's why people that inventors like Einstein, Edison, coming up with things that were remarkable, Tesla. And what they were able to do is get into sort of a sub-sleep mode, and they would tap into this marvelous force that we have. The way that you get into that mode, each of these individuals that I just mentioned had passion for what they did. They had passion to discover new things. So they work from the heart. It's the key to tap into that wisdom that has the wisdom of whatever was, whatever will be. Every cell has that wisdom. It's like a world within itself. To tap into that cell, you have to get passionate about what you're doing. And then those answers will come. When I wrote my book, half that stuff in the book I didn't really know. But it came to me, and not just come to me as far as new information, but telling me where to go to get the information.
Exactly.
That's the key, because you can't have it all given to you. You have to go out and seek it, but it tells you what to get.
And sometimes we have to live it and learn it to get it. And then we can convey that. I'm doing that with the several books that I've been writing too, and the coaching program that we have rolling out, where you can learn how to master your life by taking a few concepts, keeping it really simple, getting back to your basics. Life does not have to be so complicated. We make it complicated. And I know we're coming to the close of the show. We only have a minute or so, but I want to take just a few seconds to say that there's a new show coming out next Monday, right guys? At 3:30. So set your timer, tell everyone about it. I can't even tell you what the name of it, because it's going to be so very, very cool. And I don't want to ruin any surprises. It's not us, but it's the studio, and I call them my super crew, and I mean that, speaking of from the heart. Truly, they are all my superheroes here at Tampa Bay Multimedia with WeBeam TV. So next Monday and every Monday thereafter, just before our show, from 3:30 to 4:30, and then we'll come up live at 5, and it's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, I hope that you were able to glean a little bit of something from our show today. We always like to be fresh and unrehearsed and bring you some of the sameness that keeps working for us, but then as we learn a few new little tidbits, we toss those in there as well. I want to thank you for hanging in there. Your voice did pretty good today.
Yeah, I woke up with a little bit of laryngitis today, but it managed to last. I didn't know if I was going to make it through the whole show, but I knew you could cover for me.
Oh, what does that mean? Never mind. I know exactly
The
what
human
that means.
talking machine.
Well, I want to thank you for hanging in there with me, always my hero, and I want to thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Monday, same time, same place, and remember the new show coming up at 3:30. We have a lot going on this year, we truly do, and I also have my Women Unscripted show coming up the very last Monday of every month. That's almost ready to go to a second show a month, and we'll keep you posted on that. That's always a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year 2016. See you next time.